Oh boy, I had to cut off some of the damn title. It wasn't even the damn title was too damn long. Hold on, too. Let me make sure my. I hope this damn internet thing don't start. This shit spinning and spinning. I'm okay. There you go. I don't know if we live. Okay, there you go. There you go, man. My internet, boy. I tell you, these people. Hold on, let me mute this. All right. Y'all give me a second, man. I see Sister Jolanda and Sister Zane in here, so we live. Peace, y'all. Trying to get my phone together so I can see who in the chat. Hold on, y'all. Let me go here real quick. All right. Let's do it like this. Share on screen. Yeah, quick. I got so much stuff open up. Hold on. Dang. Y'all, give me just a second. Give me a second. Let me delete this here off of here and cut this off. All right. Come here. Right here. All right. I'm gonna share my screen. Okay. Share my screen. We're gonna go here. Wow. Yeah. Is in the mix. Is in the mix. All right. I want to say ETM Hotep, Dual Aku, Dual Necha, Fatmo Lafayette, Fatmo Riri, Majuba Iba E, Ilakba, Majuba Iba E, Ilakba, Majuba Iba E, Gungun, Majuba Iba E, Gungun. Also, Black African Power family. Welcome back to Kofi Piesie TV. I always want to give honor and praises to the ancestors because without the ancestors, we wouldn't be here. We are our ancestors. First of all, I want to say peace to the chat, peace to my good sister Jolanda, my good brother Zane, CK the poet, peace, peace, peace. My great, good sister, Sister Kaba, what's happening, sis? And my good brother EB Bibo. I know I'm saying you're pronouncing your name wrong. Y'all, please help me share the show. I was playing the little Mende music. I hope y'all enjoyed it for a few minutes. I was trying to share the show a little bit, but kind of share the show. Please, family. I got brother Sutek on the panel. I got brother Vasa Nicolo on the panel. I got brother Satepi Ra Mary Amin on the panel. Before I get started and we go into this presentation, because we're gonna be addressing a few of the things that my brother Eni Sean Calfunny was kind of trying to talk about last week, and some of the video that he showed me on one of my big brothers channel with some of those individuals individual I would not name, but go ahead, brothers on the panel, before I jump into it.
Peace, peace, peace to everybody that's coming in. The family that'll see the show later. Like the show.
Oh shoot, now hold on, man. I'm sorry. Go ahead, it's a take. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying, like the show, share the show. Peace to everybody coming in. Peace to my brothers on the panel. We ready to get into this good presentation. My brother gonna build on, like he said, what Brother Sean did last week. So get your pen and your pad out.
Peace everybody. This is Satep. Hope y'all enjoy this show. I know I will. Like the brother said, get your pen and pad out.
Peace to the audience, peace to the panel. Like everybody said, get your pen and papers because y'all know Kofi gonna drop a tremendous amount of information. I'm sorry, at the moment, Kofi, I don't know what's going on with my computer. It's not letting me get on YouTube, but give me a second and I'm gonna be in there with everybody else. In the meantime, peace to everybody.
Yeah, please like and share the show. Please, I know people be falling in a little bit later on, but again, a peace to everybody that's already in the chat. And again, please like and share the show to people that you may think that may be interested in this information that I may be presenting today. All right, and the name of this presentation is let's talk some more about the Mende people. Who are the Mende? Where they come from. All right, people know me that follow me know this is my saying. As I learn, we all learn. This is a powerful statement to me. As I learn, we all learn. We can go a long way with that. And my other saying, let's get this culture, because I understand that a lot of us don't understand our culture. Our culture has been under attack for centuries. They have not shared our information. A lot of us don't understand our culture, our traditions, or even where to look for. Where to look at. So, if you tune in to Kofi Piesie TV, if you tune in to Massive Warrior Clan YouTube channel, those two channels are the channels that I operate off of, as well as some other good brothers on the Massive Warrior Clan channel, as well as some good brothers on Kofi Piesie TV. If you hadn't subscribed, please subscribe to both channels, Massive Warrior Clan channel and the Kofi Piesie TV channel. We have all types of information dealing with African culture as well as African American culture. So let's get this culture. All right, first, before we get into it, I want to start off with, and I wanted to actually put my certificate up here. The Mende people is live and well in America. We know that we have Mende people in South Carolina, Georgia, as well as the Delta region. And I just want to show my results again, and then I'm gonna go into my results. If you wanna, I did a whole presentation on when I did my DNA and got my DNA result. So if you want to look at that presentation, you can go back and look at that. I think is Kofi Piesie's 23andMe DNA results presentation. So I did a whole presentation on my DNA test and broke down my DNA test and where my what is my haplogroups on both sides, where did those haplogroups originate from, and where did they migrate from. Both of my mother and father's ancestors migrated from East Africa. My father's ancestors migrated from um, Kenya, and my mother's ancestors migrated from Uganda. Both of those groups migrated into West Africa. I'm Nigerian on my father's side, Ghanese on my mother's side. My father's ancestors went into Nigeria. My mother's ancestors went into Ghana, Libya, and Sierra Leone. So I'm going to be talking about Sierra Leone today. So this is another reason why I wanted to show my results a little bit today. You can see I'm 28.9% Nigerian, Ghanese, Liberian, Sierra Leone, 15.5%. And I also have some cousins that I'm not, I doesn't have a relationship with those, but I know these people are my cousin that actually goes to Sierra Leone every summer. And I spoke about this maybe a year and a half ago, and actually was going to try to sit down with them, have a conversation with them, and maybe was going to try to interview them. But again, I never, got back with my cousin to get with them to ask to see if they actually wanted to sit down with me and talk and chop it up about them visiting Sierra Leone, particularly the Gala people and the Mende people. So here I am, 15.5% Sierra Leone. And a lot of the people where there are a lot of different ethnic groups in Sierra Leone. You got the Gala people, you got the Kissi, the Va, the Kono, the Mende, the Timni people, I think, who was the oldest people that is in that land, mass, and we know that it is a melting pot of ethnic groups, not only Africans, but you had Southeast Asians that went into Sierra Leone. You had 400 people actually from 1797 to 1789. You had a group of people that went into Sierra Leone that was purchased by a king, that was purchased from a Timni king. These 400 people was Southeast Asians. These people was liberated Africans. These people was um, Africans. These people were, I think, those other people was no Scandinavians. Those individuals who fought in the Revolutionary War. And took the side of the British to fight in that war, and they was freed if if they fought in war. The British fought against the United States, and they was freed, and we know that they was taken into Canada, Scandinavians. So the Scandinavians, no, I'll take that back. The Scandinavians didn't come till later on. But you had the Southeast Asians, the liberated Africans, the African Americans, and there was another ethnic groups of those 400 people that actually went in from 1787 to 1789 when it was burnt down. The place, the first free town in Sierra Leone was actually burnt down. And it was burned down by the second king, the second Timni king, who took over. And later on, 1792, fast forward to you had the Scandinavians who actually went into that area. You had 1,100 people that actually migrated to Sierra Leone, as well as Christian missionaries. But you had the Christian missionaries, you had African Americans. Yes, African Americans. You had again, you had Jamaicans, you had Maroons, you had the Scandinavians. So it is a melting pot of different ethnic groups that also migrated and went in to Sierra Leone and started Freetown. Also, before I get started, just real quick, just showing you again where it says we know Native Americans is of Asian stock. Again, Native Americans is of Asian stock. So you can see here that I am 0.7%. If you can see where my cursor at, I am 0.7% Native American. That ain't enough to account anything. And the reason I'm showing this, my DNA testing again, is to let you know that I do have ancestry in Sierra Leone, and I do talk to a person on a regular. She's actually in the track, Sister Kaba. I actually wanted to put her certificate in here from AfricanAncestry.com showing that she is a Mende, but she already knew she was a Mende, but now she has the paper to actually show people to bag up what she's saying, that she is a Mende. And but anyway, and this presentation was actually sparked by the impromptu show that my brother Any Harris Sean Calfani did, that he was on my big brother Unc show, where two individuals, one guy in particular, was making these outlandish claims, who said he is a Native American. So I am 0.7% Native American, not even enough to count for anything. But again, Native American is of Asian stock, and I'm not an Asian. Anyway, this presentation was put together after impromptu video by my brother Any Harris Sean Calfani did on Kofi Piesie TV last week, titled "Who is the Mende?" So if you missed that, go check that show out as well. After the individual, who I will not mention, said that here are some of the claims. Angola is in Indiana. So this individual saying that Angola is in Central Africa. Angola is a term that the Portuguese came up. The Portuguese came up with. If you go back and look at my presentation, and we'll go into the word Angola. He says Angola or Angola. Angola is not a country. Angola is actually a title. But later on, when the Europeans came back, these people came back. They set up and became a governor after they made after they started trading with one of the kings in the Congo. which I talked about on the presentation. I also did a whole series on the Congo. So go back and check out that presentation that I did on the Congo. The Portuguese in the Congo was the first part of the series where I showed you how the Portuguese came into Central Africa during, I think, 1487, if I'm not mistaken. They came into Africa. And from there, they built a relationship with the people in the Congo, particularly the king who converted and became a Christian at one time, and then actually uh, dropped from being a Christian and went back to actually practicing his own tradition. But this king did not, at this particular time, force his people to actually practice Christianity at the time. But when you go back and look, his son who took the throne, his son actually became converted and became a Christian, and he actually converted a lot of his people into Christianity at that time. But again, Angola is a term that the European uh, came up with when they took over Luanda, went into Luanda, the capital in Congo, and this individual who became a governor named it Angola after a title called Angola. But we'll get into that a little bit later. But this individual say Angola is in Indiana in the United States. Okay. Also, another claim that this individual made, he says Mende history is fake. So he's saying that the Mende history is fake. He's making a claim Mende's history is fake because he says that the Mende people is from North America. He said that these people are not from West Africa. They are from North America. Also, Africa did not exist till the 13th century. I don't know what he mean by that. I don't know if he mean the word. I don't know if he mean that Africa didn't exist. People didn't inhabit that area until the. I don't know exactly what that was. I'm not going to even touch on that, but we're going to touch on a little bit on the Angola and the Indiana. Mende history is fake. Mende's people is from North North America. So let's get into it. Again, like I said, please like and share the show to those that you think that may be interested in this information. This here is a statue of Singpei. He was a hero on the Amistad ship, the rebellion. I also did a two-part series, and I have all these presentations that I did at the back of the presentation. So people that want to go and check out this information, they can have the titles and what YouTube channel I did it on. I operate off of two channels. I operate off of Mossy Warrior Clan YouTube channel, and I operate off of Kofi Piesie YouTube channel. So I'll be back and forth doing presentations on both. So we'll give you all that at the end. But I want to say, and I wanted to start the presentation out with Singbe Pei, because he was a Mende person. He was, for those that may not know who this individual was, he was the head or the brains behind the Amistad, the Amistad ship that was coming here, that they took siege of the ship and ended up in North America. And during this time that they were siege, it was outlawed by the British. Slavery was outlawed. So a lot of these people was coming across the ocean with slaves that, was doing it illegal. You know what I'm saying? Working off the books was illegal, like they had already owned these slaves, but these was new slaves that they had actually just went and captured and put on these ships, and touched up the paperwork like they had already owned these individuals and had already changed their names and etc. So I just want to say Majuba Iba E Sangbe Pei. I want to honor, give honor and thanks and praise to this African warrior, this African hero, this Mende hero here who actually took the ship. So I want to start off with him because he is one of my heroes. We don't hear a lot about a lot of our people didn't lay down. This was just one of many of our people who actually took siege over ships. They didn't just lay down and take it. They said there was other ships that were sieged as well. There was other revolts here as well as South America and the Caribbeans as well. So again, don't think that our people just laid down. We fought back. We was fighters. We talked back. But a lot of this information that they don't teach us. But again, I want to start off with him. And here is this is a painting by Nathaniel Joseph, was made by Singpei, who was awaiting trial in New Haven, Connecticut. And again, when those guys got here and etc., and the ship was sieged after they had already took over the ship, killed plethora of people that was on the ship, and when they made it to America, the ship was sieged and taken over, and a lot of the people was arrested, and a lot of those people that was on the ship were Mende people. So here is a picture of Singpei. Here, our art picture. All right, here is a picture here. Just start out with these individuals. These are some sketches. This is some sketches by William H. Townsend, a sketch of the Amistad captain depicted of the individuals who overpowered and captured the bra of the slave ship, again, which was called Amistad, or the La Amistad. And for people that want more information on that, again, go in the archives here on Kofi Piesie TV, and you can look at part 1 and part 2. I did a 2-part series on the Amistad. But here is some sketches of these individuals here, and a lot of these people are Mende. And again, here is another. This here is James Convey, and James Convey. His real name is Kawili, if I'm pronouncing it right, but he is a Mende individual. I'm showing this individual for particular reasons. Also, again, if the Mende people were from North America and not Africa, correct, as the brother said, then we will see cultures of the Mende people here. We will also see language. Their language will also be here. Their culture, their tradition will also be already here in America if the Mende people was not African and were from North America, correct? So, and I'm just showing this here because John Convey, or Kawali, he was a Mende individual. I'm not going to read all this again. If you want it in detail, in full detail, go in the archives and check out the 2 presentations that I did. But this brother, he was an individual who was a slave, who began to get free. He became free. He was schooled again by the church missionaries. We know a lot of Christian missionaries went into Africa and actually set up schools, missionaries in schools, and they re-educated the people in the countries of Africa that they went into. And the country that they went into, they taught them about the Bible. They taught them their tongue. So they taught them English. They taught them how to read and write in English. And convert them or push their ideology on to the people, and push them farther away from their own tradition and culture. But anyway, this brother was schooled in one of the missionary society schools. He was also taught English, and later on he became and he enrolled into the Navy. So he was here in the Americas. I can't remember exactly where he was at when they found him. They was looking for someone to he was an interpreter. He was an interpreter during the trial with Singpei and those other people that took captives of the La Amistad here. They needed someone to interpret what they was actually saying. So if this guy here, who was a Mende, who became a slave and later on became free, got educated, went into joined the Navy, and then they sought out to find someone who actually spoke the Mende language so they can interpret what these individuals are saying in court. If this was the case, they wouldn't have to find, if the Mende people was already from North America, then their language will be already in North America. They wouldn't need this brother here. They wouldn't need to be trying to find someone of Mende who is from West Africa, who say he is from Africa. They wouldn't need this African brother to interpret what these other individuals is saying if the Mende people was already is not African and from North America. They wouldn't need an African to interpret someone from North America. They could find anywhere from someone from North America to interpret the language of the people that they took siege of the ships. All right, and then here we have linguistics. We're gonna get deep into the Mendes and the Menders. But I'm just trying to set up a few little things. They're trying to address a few little things quick as possible, and we're gonna move forward and go, and go on into more into the Mendes. Again, here let's talk about the linguistics. Lorenzo Dow Turner. Y'all know about him. I talked about him in the whole series. I did a whole series on the Gala people. I did a 5-part series on there, um, walking y'all step by step through the Gala Geechee, the Black Seminoles, and etc. Walking you through their history from West Africa or from Central Africa. When we talk about the Kisi people who migrated into from Central Africa into West Africa into Sierra Leone and Liberia, if I'm not mistaken. And the Kisi people, when you look at how it was spelled then, it was spelled the Geechee, the Geezee, if I'm not mistaken, which became the Kisi, the Kisi. So the Kisi people, so this is where you get the Geechee from, the Gala and the Geechee people from. But we'll get more. But anyway, I'm not going to talk a whole lot about that. For more information on that, again, go check out all of those presentations, all 5 of those presentations, which are on Kofi, some on Kofi Piesie TV and some is on Mossy Warrior Clan channel. But this brother here was a linguistic, and he was studying the people that was on these sea islands in America, in Georgia and South Carolina. And he was seeing that a lot of the similarities, they had a lot of the similarities as those people that was in West Africa, particularly Sierra Leone. The customs, the traditions, even the way that they talk was similar to the people in West Africa. So this guy here is a linguistics. I'm not gonna go into hold on one second. Let me he must have went out. You still in here, man? Are you raising your hand for something? I mean, I'm you still in here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just didn't want to interrupt you. While you was there, I was going to ask if you want that slide I put together last year where it shows the song that they used to tie that together. The Gullah language and
Yeah,
Mende.
you can if you want to. And I actually
I'll send it.
also, yeah, you can. We'll put it up because I mean the same information. I have it on that last part I did when I go through the linguistic. I actually show and compare some of the language, the language and the pronunciation that was on those sea islands in South Carolina, in Georgia, and even the song on how they start. They with the song. This person that they found. So, but we can throw it up though. We'll throw it up, man, and let them see it in a minute.
Okay.
Just get it ready, and we'll
Okay.
throw
I
it up.
still can't get on my YouTube, but I'll send you that to
Okay.
your Facebook.
All right. But again, if you want more information on this brother, just Google him or go to my presentation. I kind of go in depth about Lorenzo on those presentations, and here is some of his qualifications here. But this brother was a linguistic. He was studied in linguistics and some other things as well. But as he began to notice, and then he began to follow Margaret Washington, who seen similar things with the people on those sea islands in Georgia as well as South Carolina. She began to put a book out, Slavery, Religion, and Community Cultures Amongst the Gullah. So he began to dissect the language and stuff because that's what linguistics do. And he tied those people back to West Africa, not North America. He tied their language back to West Africa and not North Africa. Those traditions that he see that was similar on those sea islands are the same as those people practice in not South, but in West Africa, Sierra Leone. And one of the things that they, with those sea islands that a lot of the people targeted at that particular time was rice. Rice was heavy in demand. So when you go and study it, those people, the Mende people was farmers, as well as other people other ethnic groups that was in Sierra Leone was also farmers, agriculture and farmers. So you will see that they deal with a lot of stuff on the land, and particularly they planted a lot of rice, and they was good with a lot of the rice. So a lot of the rice and stuff they cultivated rice. So they cultivated rice also on these sea islands. These sea islands in America, North America, particularly in South Carolina and Georgia, as well as a part of Florida. These places was great for cultivating rice. So this is another reason why they targeted particular people as the Mende, the Gala. Even when you look at the Gala people, a lot of the Gala people are mixtures of different ethnic groups. One in particular is the Mende. Another in particular is the Kissy. Another in particular is the Kono people. Another in particular is the Va people. Another in particular is the Timmy. So, you know, the Gala is not just one ethnic group of people. There are a mixture of group of people. So when you go back and look at these presentations or just study those groups of people in West Africa, Sierra Leone, then you will understand exactly what I am talking about. But again, this is the linguistic Lorenzo Dow Turner, and he didn't trace their language back to North America. He traced it back to West Africa. The customs and traditions that was kept by the peoples on these sea islands were the same as the people in West Africa. And these are the most people, when you start to study the Gala and the Geechee people, which was a mixture of ethnic groups, you'll start to see that they had their whole culture in attack. Their whole culture was in attack because the of yellow fever and other different diseases that we was already immune to, because when you study the geographical location, or you study the those areas, those sea islands in Africa, those are, I mean, and sea islands in South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, you will see that they are the same as well as in West Africa. So we was immune to certain types of things. So, and the European wasn't. So at a particular time, the European was, you know, came certain part of the year, but most of the time it was untended. It was untended by the European, intended by those who they enslaved and put on these sea islands to cultivate rice and other economics for the European at this particular time. So they kind of kept their tradition intact. Here you have the name Angola comes from the Portuguese colonial name Reino de Angola, Kingdom of Angola, which appeared as early as Dias de Novas. This was one of the Dias de Novias was one of the individuals who became king. Not king, became a governor. He became a governor in Luanda, and he named the place Angola that he became, which is in Central Africa, not Indiana, but Central Africa. But from 1571 charter, the toponym was derived by the Portuguese from the title Angola, held by the king of Ndongo. So Angola is a title, not a country. It was, he took it from the title. Even some people say Angola, like Angola was a country in Central Africa. It was a title that this Portuguese individual who became governor in the Congo, who had an agreement with one of the kings of the Congo. The title Angola held by the kings of Ndongo, and Ndongo in the highlights between the Kawanza and Lukala River was nominally a possession of the Kingdom of the Congo, but was seeking greater independence in the 16th century. Angola was the title for rulers of the Ndongo Kingdom, which exists from the 16th to 17th century in what is now Northeast Angola. The full title was Angola e Kulaji, which is often shortened as simple as Angola, hence the name of the modern country Angola, hence the modern name of the country Angola. So it was named by Dias de Novas, a Portuguese individual who came into Central Africa, left, and then later came back with a lot of individuals. I think about 300 individuals, and they had a certain type of agreement with the king. And you can get that information on the Portuguese and the Congo presentation that I did. I talk about the king, then I go in depth with the king and his son. Then I talk about the king again in my in my Congo series that I did. I think it was a 4-part series. We talk about the warrior king, not the warrior king, but the warrior king Nzinga, you know, and Nzinga is actually kin to the king who actually had an agreement with Dias de Novius, who came back into Africa in 1571. And again, this Portuguese got the title for the province that he had in Luanda, which is in Central Africa, from a title of the Ndongo king. So this is where Angola comes from the Portuguese, from a Central Africa title, not a North African title, but a Central African title. So just trying to clear up some of these things. You know, the guy said that Angola is in Indiana. All right. Here is just the picture. Am I still good out there, y'all? I want to make sure that I'm still clear. Y'all still able to hear what I'm saying, because every now and then my internet unstable thing will pop up here.
Yeah, you good to go.
Okay. Okay. All right. Yes, and I see Sister, she says Mende is spoken as a regional lingua franca in southwestern part of the country, and is also used for the second language in many spoken of the Creole and English-based Creole. Yes, there is that is the lingua franca of the trade, which is the Creole, and also those people and early on, those descendants, those people that started the Freetown, they began to their descendants were called the Creole, or the Creoles. So this is where you see the word Creole comes in effect in Sierra Leone, and then the Creole is nothing but an offshoot of the languages of English, offshoot from the language of Africa, the offshoot language of Jamaica, the offshoot language of the Maroons, the offshoot language of the Scandinavians who came out of Canada, who fought against the British in the United States of America. So it's an offshoot of different languages that they created in order, because when you look, it is a melting pot. I mean, it is in so many different ethnic groups. There is not one different ethnic group in Sierra Leone. So again, when you look at Freetown, or you look at before Freetown established in 1787 to 1789 with the first 400, and then you look at the second when they came in after it was burnt down, and they reestablished and then set up Freetown in 1792 with the 1,100 people that came into Sierra Leone. There was a plethora of different groups, ethnic groups, and even with the first wave, the first 400 people, you had Southeast Asians that went into Africa at 1787 with liberated Africans and African Americans at that particular time. But anyway, again, in 1557, the ruler Angola of Ndongo, Ndedabi, requested military aid from the Portuguese and to be baptized. And in 1560, the ambassador, led by Paul Dias de Novas, who became the governor of a province became governor of a part in Luanda, which is in Central Africa, which he named Angola after a title called Angola by the king of Ndongo, who is called Ndedabi. And I talked about Ndedabi and his son in the Portuguese in the Congo, or if it wasn't in that one, it was in one of those 4 parts of the Congo series that I put out a year or a year and a half ago. So this information is not new to me at all. But anyway, after arriving to the ruler of Ndongo, the Kilaja Ka Ndedabi suspected them to be agents of the Congo and had them in prison. Kolaya, however, allowed Novus to return to Portugal under the conditions to lead military aid. So this is when he came back and he set up Angola, and he became the first governor in Central Africa, in the Congo. Novus returned with the expedition, 7 ships of 700 settlers and 350 soldiers, and in 1576 established at Luanda a new settlement with the consent of the king of Ndongo of the Congo. It didn't say the king of the United States of America or the president of the United States of America. It says the king of Ndongo and in the Congo. Nothing about America. So again, Angola was started by Paul Dias de Novas, who was the first governor in Ndongo, in Luanda, who set up his place called Angola from the title called Angola, a title called Angola. All right, Niguwu, the supreme being of the Mende religion, is the creator of the universe and everything in it. After creating the world, Nguwu went up to heaven and rarely intervened directly in human affairs, although nothing good or evil can happen without his permission. Ancestral spirits are venerated and prayers of Ijiwu are channeled through them. Other categories of natural occupations and evil spirits in Gathang exist through the sacrifice and other rituals often conducted by specialist people, other spirits, and ask of their protections and blessings. So I don't know if any one of the Native Americans or the Abo's creator is called Injawi, but this is what the people in West Africa call their creator. Sierra Leone lies in the west coast of Africa, sandwiched in between the Republic of Guyana to the north and the Republic of Liberia to the south. The country covers an area of almost 28,000 square foot miles and have a coastline of beautiful white sand beaches extended for about 212 miles from north to south. The climate is tropical with the high temperatures and a marked alternations of dry and wet seasons. Sierra Leone received the name, which means Lion Mountain, from the Pedro da Century, the Portuguese navigator. And you're going to see these damn Portuguese names. Portuguese was everywhere. Portuguese jumped this damn thing off. You're going to see Portuguese everywhere. But again, Sierra Leone received his name, which means Lion's Mountain. For those that may not know what Sierra Leone means, it's called Lion Mountain by one of the Portuguese, and this is why the navigator who passed by in 1460 during the rainy season and thought the noise of the thundering along the mountaintops came from roaring lions. So this individual, from the sounds of the noise from the thunder on the mountains, sound like roaring lions. So this is where he gets the names, the meaning of the name Sierra Leone come from. All right, from the 16th to the early 19th century, the territory was raided for slaves for the Atlantic trade, and later in the 19th century, ravaged by slave traders and in tribal wars. In 1787, Granville Sharp, and Granville was actually the first place where the first 400 people came, and then after the second Timney king actually burnt it down, and he burnt it down because it is said by certain scholars that during those first 400 people who came in 1787, they purchased the land. The Europeans purchased the land for these liberated or free Africans, African Americans, these Southeast Asians, and they began to they purchased the land, but they were saying that the Timney king did not fully understand the conditions. The Timney king was saying that they was going to inhabit the land for a certain period of time, but the intention was for them to inherit the land for life. If they purchased the land, then it would be their land forever until they begin to do something, until they sell it or want to do otherwise with the land. So when the second king came out, I guess he was still up under this exception. Okay, well, y'all been here for a while. Y'all should, it's time for y'all to get out, or whatever the case may be. I'm not sure. But he burnt that whole place down in Grenville. And then some of those people was misplaced in Africa. They went to another place in Sierra Leone. I can't remember exactly the place, but actually when 1792 came and the 1100 people came and they began to build Freetown and emulate Freetowns, the builders and etc., as it was in the United States, those poor misplaced Africans that became poor at this particular time after as Granville was burnt down, they migrated back into Sierra Leone, Freetown as well. The slave trades founded the Providence, Freedom, and the Pennsylvania areas of the country as a home of African slaves freed in England. The first group settlers who arrived in the year were later joined by other settlers of African origins from England, Nova Scotians, and Jamaicans. The Sierra Leone Company was formed in 1791, we know, to administer a little settlement, but by 1808, the burden involved proved too heavy for the company, and the Sierra Leone was transferred to the British Crown. The colony received additional land from time to time up to 1861 through various treaties and cessions from the local chiefs in the hitherlands after 1807. With the British Parliament passing an act making slave trade illegal, the new colony was used as a base from which acts could be enforced. And even the Freetown became a place where you might have was kidnapped. Let's say you was kidnapped from Guyana, or you was kidnapped from Guyana-Bissau, or you was kidnapped from Togo, Benin, or any other place in West Africa, right? And during this particular time, even this was the time, even up to we get to the La Amistad, when we get to the Mende people taking over the La Amistad ship, seizing the ship or whatever. It was illegal at this particular time. And when you study the case records and you study the court records and you see where a lot of these people went in and fixed the paperwork, like these people had already been slaves prior to them actually passing the law. But we know after they passed law, you still had people that was going in to Africa and kidnapping people and then taking them illegally across the ocean into the Caribbean, South America, and North America. Excuse me. And even when, and they had some people out there that may seize these ships and find that these people was illegally kidnapped, and these people were taken to Freetown. So some people from Guyana, some people from Guyana-Bissau, some people from not Sierra Leone, from Togo, Benin, they might have ended up in Freetown. They never went back home. So if they was found being kidnapped coming across the ocean, these people was taken, and they wasn't say, okay, where you from? And they was taken home. These people was taken to Freetown in Sierra Leone. Hundreds and some years, thousands of slaves were rescued each year from passing slave ships. Most of them remained in Sierra Leone. Together with earlier groups of settlers, these people and their descendants became known as the Creoles, as I said earlier. The colonies developed trade and mission connections with the tribes and the surrounding territories, which gradually became the British sphere of influence. So when they created their own Creole language, again, the descendants they were called Creoles. And with the Creole language again is like my sister had, and what's name was a Franco-lingua, and also a trade language. So there was a language that they created where they was able to talk amongst each other, because again, you had different ethnic groups who spoke different languages. So they had to create a bridge language in order for them to communicate with. All right. Hundreds and in some years, thousands of slaves were rescued each year from passing slave ships. Most of them remain in Sierra Leone. Together with the early groups of settlements, these people, their descendants became, okay, same slide, I duplicated. I forgot to delete that slide because I actually wanted a background of what I was reading in the background. So I didn't do it on the other slide. I did it on this one, same slide. Provisional figures after the 1963 census have placed the population of Sierra Leone at 2,183,000, which we know there are, 7,183,000, which we know that it has increased since then. This was, this was in 1963. I think the last census that I seen in Sierra Leone was in 2016. And it may be another one coming out, or it may be another one out, but the earliest one that I have seen was in 2016, which state there is 7 million and some people in Sierra Leone today, as well as about 1 million and something people in Freetown, or in the capital city of not 1 million people. It may be 1 million people or something like that. I can't exactly remember, but I know there's over 700,000, not 700, but 7 million some people in Sierra Leone today. And it may be 1 million, or it may be a little lesser than that in the capital of Freetown today. And this is according to the census of 2016, the earliest one that I have seen. The figures include a large number of tribes: the Mende, as we're talking about now, the Timni, which they say has been one of the oldest tribes to inhabit Sierra Leone. You have the Limbus, you have the Loco, you have the Fula, you have the Corcoras, you have the Mandingos, you have the Susu, you have the Konos, you have the Cherubus, you have the Kissi, you have the Lucas, you have the Creams, you have the Galax, you have the Galines, each with its own language and customs. The largest of these are the Mendes, who inhabit an area of nearly 12,000 square miles. So there are many different ethnic groups, and there are more. I didn't name all of them, but there are more groups. But you see that the Mende is one of the biggest, and then you see the Kissi people here. Here, you see the Gala. I told you the Gala people in here. The people migrated also from Central Africa. The Gala, the people in Central Africa, from the particular region that became Angola. The Gala people migrated into Sierra Leone, as well as the Kissi. The Kissi or the Gidji or the Jitsi became the Kissi people from that migrated from Central Africa into West Africa. And the Mende are the biggest group of people. And then this is why you will see a molten pot when you study the Gala people. You will see that they have some Mendes tradition. You will see the Timnis. You will see the Kissis, the Cerebros. You will see the Konos. You will see a lot of these. So the Gala people is not one group, one ethnic group. There are a bigger group of, a lot of ethnic groups from Africa that was kidnapped and took to Bones Island. If you study Bones Island, you will see that at Bones Island, they put these people, that the individual that actually ended up owning Bones Island, which there were many owners of Bones Island, they target Sierra Leone and Liberia for a specific reason. It was for the cultivation of rice. These guys mastered cultivating rice. And when you study a lot of these different ethnic groups, the Mendes, the Timbis, the Limbis, the Kisses, you will see them cultivating rice. They are masters at cultivating rice. This is why they was targeted and taken to Bones Island and then went into North America, or went into the United States, into these sea islands, into Georgia, as well as South Carolina, as well as part of Florida. But again, the Mendes, who inhabit the areas of nearly 12,000 square miles in the southeastern and southwestern portions of the countries. It is also part of the adjacent western corner of Liberia. The Mende chieftains and are nearly 70 occupied the whole administrative districts to be convened in parts of the Kalan, the Pujund, and the Moyaba. Although there are complete absence of centralized governments, the Mendes can be regarded in the widest sense of the term as a nation, since their culture and linguistic characteristics are sufficiently distinct to mark them off as a group, and they possess a very defined natural consciousness, which is supported by tradition, legend, and folklore. The origin of the Mende people is uncertain. Linguistics that are related to the Mende speaking people. When we start to study linguistics and delve into the language, we can trace the Mende people back to the Mande people, the people in Guyana. And it has been suggested that they were driven south and west by the conquering of the Fulana people in the late Middle Ages. And for more information about the Fulana people, you can go to Masi Warrior Clan YouTube channel, and Brother Sean did a presentation on the Fulani people, and we know they became urbanized and started to indulge into Arab culture, and their religion became Islam. So they was pushed out of certain areas. Certain groups was pushed out of the certain areas by the Fulani people. Again, for more information on that, please go in to Massive Warrior Clan channel and scroll in the archives till you find a presentation on the Fulani people. Again, we have plethora of information dealing with African culture as well as African American culture. We specialize in African culture, meaning that we study Central Africa, South Africa, North Africa, Central Africa, and West Africa. We study over 3,000 and some ethnic groups, which is in Africa. We study 53 to 54 countries on the continent of Africa. According to the Mende's tradition, and I'm saying that for a reason. So when we say certain things, we ain't just talking. We studying. We have been doing this for a few years. We study and stent on certain things. We have plenty of information and sources to back up what we are saying. So we're not just saying stuff and we're just not making up stuff. But according to the Mende tradition, there are original settlements of the country was a peaceful one, and they probably made their first appearance in Sierra Leone about 400 years ago in a small band of hunters. Small villages based on the combination of huntings and primitive agriculture were established under the leadership of the original pioneer and his relatives. And in time, these were extended by the additions of a small outlining hamlet formed by the branching out of young members of the group and by a settlement of slaves to clear the bush. So they're saying that some of the Mende people migrated into Sierra Leone. Those people that migrated into Sierra Leone or the first wave were particularly hunters who created small villages, small based villages in Sierra Leone. A second phase of Mende settlers followed by the arrival of warriors from the north who transferred the Mende into a warlike people, and in unknown how far they different from the original settlers ethnically and culturally. With the arrival of warrior peoples of the early huntings and the forming settlements were turned into fortresses within a which lived the local chiefs and his company of war boys who acted in his bodyguards and private arms in events of a disputes of neighboring chiefs. In many cases, warrior chiefs made agreements with the original settlers, offer protection in return from allegiance. Individual chiefs was able to build up large confederacies in which the paramount chiefs exercised control in variable kinds over a number of petty chiefs. This has resulted in a significant difference into three major groups on these bases: local, dialect and customs. One is the Kapa Mende, and inhabits about 16 chieftains in the west, and with a population estimate at about 20% of the total Mende figures, and are the most clearly different groups. They have distinct dialects, particularly strong military traditions, and several institutions, such as the Wundu societies, not found among other Mendes. The Wundu, and we're going to get into the Wundu or the Windi society. When we talk about the Mendes culture, and which you can go back and I keep referencing a lot of these videos because a lot of these things, again, we have been doing this for a long time. So again, I know when we talk about the Mende people, and we're going to get into a little bit more of their traditions, especially with their secret societies. So, and most of the time when we think of the secret societies, when we talk about the Mende people, we know of, when we talk about the societies of the men, we know of the Poro Society. When we talk about the secret society of the women, we talk about the Bandu and the Sandy Society that's in Sierra Leone, the Mende people. So, and again, the Bando and the Sandy are the same women's secret society, but in the South, you have, it is called the Sandy, but in the North, it is called the Bandu. So you have the Sandy and the Bando secret society, which is the women's secret society. Sandy in the South, Bando in the North. But we particularly, you rarely hear anyone talk about the Wundu society. And there may have been people talk about the Wundu society. I haven't seen it. But the Wundu society, and we'll talk about that. But particularly when we mention the Mende people secret society, we're always mentioning the Poro, the Sandy, and the Sandy and Bando society, the men and women secret society. We never mention the Wundu society, as well as another group that our society that's not mentioned as well, but we'll talk about it. And a lot of these Mendes groups was broken up for this particular reasons through the chiefs and etc. in these chiefdoms. But then you have the Sewells of the Middle Mende Levy near the Sewer River and contain about 35% of the Mende population, regarding themselves as the purest group linguistically. Then you have a third group of the Mende, the Kolo Mende, who inhabit parts of several chiefdoms in the north and provided the balance of the population. So the Mende people was broke up into 3 different groups. Again, you have the Kapa Mende, you have the Suwa, the Middle Mende, then you have the Ko Mende. So the Mende were broke up into 3 different groups. All right. In addition to substantial and cash crops farming, small-scale fishing is carried on in the villages. Men make wares of dams, but hands net fishing is women's work, and small girls help to make and mend the nets. However, dry imported fishes are the basics of the soup with which the Mende flavors their rice and the main form of protein in their diet. So we know that, again, when you look at the sea islands in North America, specifically Georgia, South Carolina, and Florida, they emulated these places in Sierra Leone, these damp, wet, moisture places that's close to the rivers and etc. So their diet consists of rice, because again, they were masters of cultivating rice. This was a reason why they targeted Sierra Leone and took them to these places in North America, took them to these sea islands in North America, because they was master farmers. They cultivated, they understood the land and how to cultivate rice. And at one particular time, rice was a big economic thing for the European here in North America. So their diet consists of fish and rice. Hunting plays a relative minor role in the middle economics. And that might be one reason why I tell you, I don't eat meat, but I tear up some fish. I eat fish every day. Traps and snares are set in the bush, and occasionally a whole village will join to either in or in a hunting expedition, driving the animals into large nets. But with the exceptions of bush pigs, guana hens, and few small deers, monkeys, and baboons, a diminishing in the numbers of crocodiles, civecs, cats, and occasionally leopards, there are few wild animals left in Sierra Leone. In addition, the foremost Mendes villages have a blacksmith, goldsmith, wood carver, carpenter, tailor, woman who practiced the arts of dyeing, clothes with garrets, one of the more petty traders who sell importing clothes, cane, food, uh, beer, and in some cases, a native doctor specialized in healing with herbs. Nowadays, a number of Mende farmers are leaving their villages to go to and work in the diamond, iron ores, rudal mines, where they can receive and steady cash salaries. A younger intellectual class educated abroad are entering in civil service, the medical, legal, engineering, and teaching professions, and pursuing careers in politics. So we have those who have went into the minefields, and we have some that are studying medicine and becoming doctors, some who are becoming lawyers, some who are becoming engineers, teachers, professors, and indulging into politics in Sierra Leone. So our people are smart and they are not primitive. And I know some people like to paint our people in Africa as being primitive and not smart at all, using the word fetish, printed, primitive, fetish, heathens, infidel, all these different derogatory terms, unhuman like. And we're going to get into that possibly next week. What do most African cultures deem to be humans? Because what we may call a person to be a human being in Africa, what we deem a person here to be a human being, people in Africa don't deem them to be human like or a person at all. So we're going to go into what qualifies you to be a human being or a person next week on the Masi Warrior Clan YouTube channel. We're going to get into Bomuntu. We're going to get into that term, that word. We're going to get into that next week, because as I look at a lot of individuals in this so-called conscious community, social media community, a lot of these individuals wouldn't even be considered a human being or a person according to African cultures and African traditions. And well, we'll get into that next week. In addition to forming the most, Mende villages have the black. Okay, I already went into that. So traditional women are usually by the time they reach puberty, marriage, or legitimate by the payment of bride prices and emboya by the prospective husband and the public decoration. So we know that dealing with a lot of the African cultures, you know, there is a bride dowry, meaning that an individual has to pay the family for the bride. And we know that there are paid many things, but a lot of what they may be paid with is with cattle. You know what I'm saying? And if you have cattle, you rich. If you have a lot of cattle, then your society or your tribe or your clan is deemed to be rich because of the cattle that you have. So you have to pay some type of dowry to the bride. And again, I keep plugging a lot of these presentations because again, they're not, you know, and a lot of people are new to the channel. A lot of people are new that's following me. Some that's been following me for a while. Some may have missed some of these presentations, but I have a presentation on marriage. And I believe that marriage is the most sacred right in African traditions. And I talk to you and explain to you why I say that marriage is the most sacred right. And it is a right when we talk about the rites of passages. Some of the things that we need to start to implement back or update and implement into our society today and our community, those rites of passage. And I'm saying update some of those rites of passages. And some people may not know what those rites of passages are. So go in the archives on my channel and Kofi Piesie TV, and I have a whole presentation on the rites of passages. And then I dove a little bit deeper on the rites of passages. And then I think I may have an article on Kofi Piesie written compositions, WordPress.org. Yes, I write articles too. So I think I have an article up on that as well, where I go through the different rites of passages. And one of the rites of passages are the marriage rites of passages. We know once you become reach puberty and you get into the adult right, the next stage after the adult right is marriage. And doing the adult right, we know that you are separated from society, and the man and the woman who are going through their rites of passage as becoming an adult is now being trained with certain information. It's the same way that we go to school. We do take, you could say, some form of rites of passages or a demarcation stage in life is what they are when we go to school. We go to school to the first grade, so we get a certain amount of information in the first grade. We've been taught something in the first grade. The second grade, we're being taught some. So this is another stage or another demarcation stage or another right that we are going through when we are going through this right. And then we have to pass this stage or this grade or this right, you know. So they go through their initiatory stages and they are learning certain types of information and that they have to pass. And then the next stage after that is marriage. So a lot of times they teaching the women how to be a good wife, how to be a good parent, how to about sex and being married in order to bring forth life. And when you talk about marriage, you have to talk about birth in the same sentence, because you can't talk about marriage without talking about birth. Life is about producing, you know what I'm saying, offsprings, as well as the man learning how to be a husband, a good man in society, things that goes on in the culture, the tradition. He's taught that a man's supposed to be with a man, a woman's supposed to be the man's supposed to be with a woman, and the woman's supposed to be with a man. They supposed to join join or unite together and bring forth life. So again, you know, life is the most important thing. So that's why I say marriage is the most important right in African culture, because again, they go hand in hand. If you talk about marriage, you have to talk about procreation. You have to talk about marriage. And a lot of those cultures in Africa, you had to be married in order to bring forth life. You have other groups when you deal in the Sudan area that you don't have to be married in order to have you don't have to be married in order to have a child. But most African cultures on that continent preferably have you to be married in order to procreate. But the bride's priest, and again, we talking about the dowry, so you must pay some type of form of monetary value or something into to the parents. And I talk about cattle. I talk about a lot of different things that you could pay in order to get married. But go check out that presentation, and it's on Mossy Warrior Clan YouTube channel. For both men and women, the precursor to marriage initiation is the Poro, or the Sandy Secret Society Plural Marriage Conference. So you have to be married in order to join these secret societies as well. The Poro Society, as well as the Sandy Society by the Mende people. You have to be married. Prestige on the man with certain parts, you have to be married, because when you go through initiation, well, we'll get in. Well, no, I'm not going to even talk about a lot of that. Again, go to the Bundle/Sandy secret society presentation on Mossy Warrior Clan channel. It's on there. I go through the whole secret society dealing with the women. I even talk about the Poro a little bit. A little bit, because I have to touch on the Poro a little bit when I'm talking about the women society and how they swap role, where the man, where it's a secret, where the Sandy, the Sandy or the Bundle secret women society actually leads the community for a certain amount of years, and then the Poro society, the men leads the society for a few years. So, but I think the men rule may run the society a little bit longer than the women. But go check out that presentation as well. Again, it is called and I have a lot of these names dropped that I'm dropping in these presentations. Most of them I already put at the back of the presentation, so you can see the names and which YouTube channel I did them on, because again, I operate off of Kofi Piesie TV and Mossy Warrior Clan YouTube channel. Society plural mass confirmed prestige on a man, and is a sign of influence since the wives work on the farm, fish, spin, cotton, and trade. Additional wives endure increasing numbers of children, and a large group of king folks adds to security. With modernization, education, and increasing numbers of the Mende, marriage members of the either tribes groups, these values are changing, and educating young Mendes generally refer to have only one wife. So now they are particularly wants to deal with one wife, but we know in African culture, you can have multiple wives if you can afford them. All right, the Poro society. We can't talk about the Mende without talking about these secret societies. Okay, so here is a group of initiates here, young men here that are being initiated into the Poro society. Here, the secret society here, and the Poro again is the Poro. Poro is a society, a secret society for men, not women. The men have their own secret society, and the women have their own secret society. All right, here on you can see on the right, you see a group of men here. These guys are in the Poro society, and we know that when we talk about African culture and we talk about initiation, what I'm saying, and we talk about rites of passages, we know going through these rites of passages, certain these rites of passages, I don't care most of what, and again, I said most of the groups, again, there were over 3,000 different ethnic groups in the continent, on the continent of Africa. So most of them are being exiled out of the community into the forest. When you look at study a lot of different ethnic groups and you study their initiatory rites, rituals, and you will see that they are being exiled out of the community by professional groups of men who have been doing things for numerous of years, and they are being exiled off into the forest. So you can see these men here are in the forest. These guys are a part of the Poro society here. The two most important initiations among the Mendes are the men Poros and the women Sandy secret society. Every important town of the villages has its own Poro. And again, as I'm illustrating a lot of these images as well, and we're going through the traditions and the cultures and the secret society and the name of the creator and the language and uh, you know, look at the images. You know, saying these individuals do not look like Asians. You know, they do not look like Asians. They don't look like Asian stocks. They don't look like Native Americans or nothing like that. You know, so look at the images. So, because the claim is the Mende people are from North America, you know, and you know, so I mean it's just crazy. But anyway, the Mendes are the men Poros and the women are the Sandy Secret Society. Like I said, again, you have the Sandy, which will be in the south, and the Bando will be in the north. Both are the same secret woman societies, but again, they are different names because of the location. The south is the Sandy Secret Women's Society, and in the north, it is the Bundle Secret Women's Society. Okay, so every important town or villages has its own poro, lodge, or meeting place, or kahin, as they will call it, and the chief may call together the poro of the whole chiefdoms or the section of chiefs of his section. Initiation is virtually compulsory for males since no Mendes are considered mature or full members of a tribe until he has become a member of the Poro. A boy usually enters a puberty, although young boys as well as adults may be accepted. And the initiation lasts several weeks. During this period, the boys live apart from their families and undergo ceremonies and disciplines, sometimes tame and sometimes rugged, including circumcisions and scarifications and tribal marks. And for more information, and I know that's a touchy sick subject, circumcision, you can also go to Masi Warrior Clan YouTube channel. I did a whole thing, me and T'Challa Bangara did a whole thing, especially with the women's circumcision. Uh, it's almost at 1,000 views. It a lot of information on there, a lot of controversy behind it, but you can go check that out as well. You can go check out also on the Masi Warrior Clan if you want to understand scarification and why they do scarification, why they still doing scarification, and why we do scarification over here or tribal marks over here. We get branded by different fraternities all day, every day. So for those that may say they may have a problem with scarifications, and then if you have a problem with scarification, you should have a problem with the fraternities brandings other people when they are becoming members of these fraternities and sororities as well. You should have problems with a lot of people because most of the people in my community now have marks on them. They have tattoos. When we talk about tribal marks, we have tattoos, and a lot of our tattoos in our bodies tell certain, well, some just get tattoos to get some tattoos mean certain things that they may have been through, something that resembles their family, or some things that they may have be going through personally, or their family may have went through personally. So their tattoos are telling some types of story, and it's connected to them or in their family in some type of sense. I have tattoos all over my body. I have them on my neck, my chest, my stomach, my back, all over my arms. So, and they have meanings behind all of my tattoos. So if you have a problem with tribal markings, you got a problem with tattoos. You have a problem with me marking my body as well. But anyway, scarification, whole thing on scarification. Go check it out. I did that presentation a while back. Impromptu presentation on the Master Warrior Clan scarification presentation by Kofi Piesie. I go in the archives and look at and check it out. Tribal marks. Also, I talk about tribal marks on the rites of passage presentation on Kofi Piesie TV, as well as in the article I wrote, as well as in on Master Warrior Clan channel on another presentation that is escaping my mind at this particular time. They are taught songs, dance, crafts, secrets, and respect for old age. Wow. Secrets and respect for old age and tribal traditions. And I said, wow, because respect for old age, and I see that you know, a lot of us don't respect our elders. And again, I'm saying wow because a lot of us is confused anyway when we talk about people being, just because people are of old age or are older than you does not make them your elder. So when you start to study a lot of different ethnic groups in Africa, you study their cultures and traditions, and you dig into their rites of passages, and you get to the rite that is called the elder rite. The elder right. So anyone cannot be an elder. So you become an elder, then you become an ancestor. An ancestor is the last right. That is death. You have transition. You have, excuse me, you have transition. So you are still honored as you have transitioned, as you has passed. Your name is still spoken. Your works is still being taken seriously. Your teachings, your advice is still, you know what I'm saying, is still taken upon. So everybody is not an elder when we talk about the socials. And I know we throw this term elder a lot in the so-called conscious community, social media community. As few elders that I recognize in the so-called conscious community, social media community. They are older than me, but just because they are older than me does not mean I have to respect them. Because again, I look through things from an African perspective and not a European perspective. So from the perspective of an African, it is certain qualifications that you have to have. You know what I'm saying? Certain types of things that you have to demonstrate in order to be an elder. You have to set certain types of examples. And a lot of these fools in this community don't set those types an example. So they are elders and not elders. I don't give a damn what you say they did. If they not exhibiting, and excuse me, if they not exhibiting right, they don't have the right qualifications according to African traditions. Because again, I look at things from an African perspective, not a European perspective. They are not my elders. So they respect their people of old age because those people go through certain transitions, through certain demarcation stages, through certain types of information, through certain types of lessons in order to become an elder. So they respect their elders, those who are older than them, those who become wise. So they respect their elders. You know what I'm saying? They learn things about song, dance, and again, song and dance is vital in the Mende society. And Sister Kaba knows a lot about that because she has a lot of musicians and singers in her and her family because she is a Mende. Um, and you know, but we'll get into that a little bit later with the singing and the dancing. I'll touch on that briefly, and I may come back and do a whole presentation on that and some of the songs that they sang and the meanings behind some of the song and the dance and the particular drum that they use, you know what I'm saying, with their functions and so forth and etc. But anyway, Poro members take on oaths and never reveal secrets of the society. The Poro is still very powerful today, and the Mende school boards in Freetown and the upcountry's town usually returns to their villages. During the vacation periods, the undergoes their initiation periods, the mysteries and terrifying powers of the Poro devils, which cannot be viewed, and non-members are linked to the instructions. And at the same time, the boys reveal that they are observing some of the devils. And for more information on that, you know what I'm saying, I don't really like to use that word, but we know people is misinterpreting and interpreting things, and there's a reason why they interpret it and call it devil. Even we get the word devil misinterpreted, and I talk about that on Ra is the most revered deity in Kemet when we talk about Satan and the Satan and the devil and Lucifer. So I talks about that and bust, you know, and I get some clear understanding on that. But I understand why they call them that. On this own qualities throughout have intercourse with the spirit world. A series of gaze represent specifics, attainments, and experiences in general, recognizing advancements being open to those who undergo and pay for the necessary additions instructions. And a lot of this sounds just like masonry. You know, I'm a mason. I've been a mason for 13, almost 14 years. I've been an active mason for 12 years. I took after I moved, I still was kind of active, but I took a back seat to masonry because I mean I was active for 12 years. Well, actually, it's been 14 years. I've been unactive for a year and a half. But a lot of this sound, and they using the terminology lodge in here and so forth, and not revealing secrets and so forth. But again, it sounds like I'm just saying it's familiar to something that I have already went through initiatory stages, information, uh, with certain levels, information that I has to keep a secret and so forth. But these guys are again are learning learning about crafts. They are learning about singing. They are learning about dance. They are learning about respect or respecting your elders or respecting someone um, older than you. They are learning life lessons. They are learning more about their culture. They are learning more about their traditions. They are learning more about how to be a productive person in society, how to be a human being, how to be a person, understanding that, hey, I have to take hand in marriage to a woman, and then we have to procreate and build on. All right, here is a Poro traditional society. This is another guy here, and again, they when they are separated from society, and they go into the bush, into the forest. They are exiled from the community until they finish their initiatory rite or they pass their initiatory stage. Here is another tradition of the secret society of the Poro, a young boy here with markings on his face. Um, and you'll see this a lot. And I talk a little bit more about the white marking, white stuff on the face, because you're going to see this a whole lot when you get to the bundle and the Sandy Woman Society. And again, we're talking about the secret societies with the Mende. And we're going to talk about the Wundu Society, which most people don't talk about. We always hear about the Poro and Sandy Society when we're mentioning the Mende people. All right, and again, the Poro initiation has three parts models, the same as the Sandy and the Bundle Society. Again, the Sandy and the Bundle are the same. In the South, it is called Sandy, Secret Woman Society. In the North, it is called the Bundle, Secret Woman Society. The Poro initiation, three parts: separation. As I told you, you are exiled or separated. Well, I use the word separated. I'm not use the word exile, but separated. You are separated from your community, your society, your clan, your tribe for weeks at a time to go through your initiatory rites, to learn certain life lessons, to learn how to be a man, to learn about respect, to learn about humility, to learn about sex, to learn about marriage, and etc. Then you transition, where you go through the transition, then you go through the corporation rights, and you see the same thing when you incorporate it back into society. You see the fraternities do the same thing, where they have their coming out parties, what they call their coming out parties. You get initiated, same thing in the fraternities. You know what I'm saying? You go, it's a secret thing. You all from everybody. You learning all this information about the fraternity, etc., etc. Bloom, 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 the history, the life lessons, the things that you can get if you obtain this type of knowledge, the relationships that you can build by being a part of this, and etc. Then you go through the transition, where now you are transitioning because you are understanding, you are grasping this information, you are meeting suitable proficiencies, as we would say in masonry, the same thing in masonry. And then you being incorporated back into society, the same thing with the fraternities. They have the coming out parties, where they have the stepping parties, where they are dancing. Where they are dancing, they're stepping, but they are dancing to the music, to the rhythm of the beat, right? They do the same thing. Now with the Poro, the man is now being incorporated back into society. And shoot, I told you the most significant thing in their culture and tradition is singing and dancing, right? Singing and dancing. So, and they are being taught that through the initiation. I showed you that the point where it says singing and dancing with other things, but singing and dancing. So now they are coming back and being incorporated. So now they are having their own coming out parties, where they are dancing and they are stepping and they are singing and they are rocking to the rhythm of the beats of the drums and the other different instruments that they may have. And for more information, keep plugging a lot of these presentations, because again, this is nothing new to us. If you want to know more about African instruments, go in the archives on Kofi Piesie TV. I give you a whole list of the drums. I did a thing on the drums on this channel, as well as Mossy Warrior Clan channel, as a group effort with my good brother Sean, any Harriet Sean Calfunny, and Benjamin Njai. We did a whole thing on the drums, a list of the drums. I did one with Brother T'Challa. Me and Brother T'Challa went in on the drums. And then I did a whole separate one with other different instruments. When we talk about um, the lyre and other different instruments, and the tambourine, all these other different instruments, you know what I'm saying? It's on here. So go in the archives and check that out. Here is a Poro Society mask. Here is another Poro Society tribal mask. Here. Do the Native Americans, do they have masks? Do they have masks, and do their masks look like this? I'm just saying again, all of this is over some nonsense. The Mendes are from North America. I guess they saying Mendes are aboriginals to North America. They're not African or whatever, but we kind of beat some of that stuff up already before we even went into the Sandy. Before we even went into the Mende people, the Sandys and the Bondo Society here. So now we with the Women's Society. So you see Sandy here with my cursor and the Bondo. Again, this is the same secret woman society. But again, the people that reside in the South, they call it Sandy. And the people that reside in the North in Sierra Leone call it Bondo Society, the Bondo Secret Women's Society. Yeah, and again here you have I was gonna go back, but I was gonna show you the Zoisi. But again, you want to know about what is a Zoiski, the different things and the meanings behind the mask, why the mask were caused for the Bundo and the Sandy Society. Again, go to the Bundo/Sandy Secret Woman Society presentation on the Mossy Warrior Clan channel. Uh, and check that presentation out. It was a good presentation. But for the women, you can see the young women here. You can see again, we're gonna get into the white. You've seen the white chalk on the man Poro face, and you see this a lot though. Not even just with the Mende people. You know what I'm saying? You see this with a lot of other different ethnic groups in West Africa, East Africa, South Africa. So you see a lot of this white chalk, you know what I'm saying? Especially in West Africa, you see a lot of the white chalk, and East Africa, you see a lot of white chalk, you know what I'm saying? Especially when we dig into the Sudan area. There's a lot of different ethnic groups in there. And I gave you one, the Koro people. That's what they said. Boy, why is you dropping all it? Because a lot of this stuff, man, we already did. People just need to go back and look at it. But the Koro people, and again, we've been doing this for a few years, so we know what we're talking about. But go check out the Koro people presentation by me on the Mossy. Then go check out the welcome back something with the Hamra people in that same region. With the Hamra people, I go in on the Hamra people. That's on Mossy as well. So go check that out. I got a few more coming later on. When we're gonna touch on that whole area, you know what I'm saying? The Omo Valley. Welcome to the Omo Valley with the Karo people. Then welcome back to the Omo Valley with the Hamra people. Yeah. So go check out those as well. So y'all got a lot of presentations y'all can go look at and go catch up on some information and jot down some notes and take some notes and etc. But for the women, there are the Sandy, the Bondo Society, which is widespread in Sierra Leone and Liberia, and closely resembles the Poro in both organizations and functions. It operates thoroughly independent lodges, most towns and villages having its own headquarters enclosures, which are out of bounds to men and pain if the work if the working in the Sandy medicine, which also protects the girl initiates from molestation. Nearby it is a Sandy household occupied by the leaders of the lodge, and here the medicines and the sacred objects of the associations are kept. A girl may be initiated at any age, but most enter before puberty. Seclusions, and you can be like I said, up in age and get initiated into the Bondo society. I mean, the Bondo slash Sandy society. Even when I talked about the circumcision with the women presentation, we talked about this doctor. I can't remember, her name is escaping my mind, but she's a doctor, and she lives over here in the United States, but her family is from, I think, Sierra Leone or Liberia. I can't remember. It's been a while, but they are part of the Mende people, and she went back later on and she got initiated into the Sandy slash Bundo society. So I wanted to show that because uh we was talking about women's circumcision at that particular time, and I was and some stuff that was going on. um uh I don't even want to talk about it, man. But you want to check out that controversial presentation, man. Go check out that presentation, man. I mean, it was a lot of information. I mean, lot of information. That presentation was over 5 hours long. T'Challa went first, and then I came in and I went in with a few things of the different cultures on why they do certain things. But anyway, just go check it out if you want to check it out. If not, that's cool too as well. And again, I don't condone women's circumcision, but again, we gonna give you all aspects of African culture, whether we agree to it or we don't agree with it. We're not just gonna romanticize African culture and traditions. We don't do that over here on Kofi Piesie TV or on Master Warrior Clan YouTube channel. We're gonna give you the good and we're gonna give you the bad. We'll leave that to other platforms that want to just romanticize Africa like nothing bad ever happened in Africa. Everything was good. Everybody got along with each other. Everything was bliss. No one harmed each other. It wasn't some crazy outlandish things people thought. What I'm saying? So, we'll let them people deal with that. But over here again with Kofi Piesie TV and Monster Warrior Clan YouTube channel, we gonna give you the good and the bad. We not gonna romanticize nothing. You understand? So anyway, the seclusions may last for 3 or 4 months, but today it is often completed in a few weeks during the period of girls learning how to cook. So these are some of the things that they are learning. They are learning how to cook, care for the sick, fishing, and other women tasks, including dancing and singing. Now you see dancing and singing. Dancing and singing was a very instrumental part in Mende culture, and we'll talk about that a little bit at the end of the presentation with the singing and the dancing. And again, I may come back and do a whole presentation again with the singing and dancing and explain and go into depth about the dancing moves and the singing and give you some of the singing songs and some inspiration behind or the meanings behind some of the songs that the Mende sing, some of the instruments that they use, particularly one of the drums. I think it may be the steel drum, or it may be the no, it's not the steel drum. It may be the steel drum. I can't remember off the top of my head what drum particularly that they use. Um, but I may come back and do something on that. But during this period, the girls again they learn about cooking, caring for the sick, fishing, and other women tasks, including dancing and singing. They also learn about, what I'm saying, being married in order to be able to procreate. They learn, again, how to be a woman, how to take care of the sick. What I'm saying. They also learn about um medicine a little bit because they deal with herbs. Because when you talk about the zoeces are one of the persons and other people up under them. They teach them this type of information. They are learning that these are things that they have to go through. These are things in the initiatory right that they have to go through. They have to pass, and then again after they've been separated, then um, meeting suitable proficiencies, and then they are reacclimated back into society as a member of the Sandy or the Bundo secret woman society. Here, let me get this off the screen here. I don't know, y'all don't see it back there, but they see it up here. Here is the Mende secret society initiation. You see the two little girls, and they done been through it. I can tell you they done been through it, because their face is completely supposed to be covered in white chalk. And we're going to talk about that white chalk in a minute. Y'all seen it on a few of the poros, they have it on their face, but a lot of the Sandy and the bundles, they have it completely covered over their face, their necks, their arms, etc. And there's a reason why, and for different groups of people, it is different reasons why they wear. Even if you go back to my Nuba presentation, you've seen them with white chalk on their face, and on their face, and that white chalk is totally different, and why the Mende people have chalk on their face dealing with the women's secret society and the women and the men's secret society. So I mean, they chalk about gone. They've been going through whatever they've been going through, and you see the two Zoesis on the left and right of them, one the Zoesis with the mask, and again, I'm not gonna go in details with the mask. You can see my cursor with the mask. If you want more information, again, just go to my Warrior Clan YouTube channel, stroll down till you see the Bondo / Sandy Secret Woman Society by Kofi Piesie. I click onto it and rock out with the presentation. I go through all that and explain, the different carvings and the markings and etc. The meanings behind the mask and so forth. So, go check that out. Here you can see full regalia here, the mask and the dress here, and you can see here this initiative again here. She has completely chalk. She ain't been through nothing really yet, but she has the white chalk all over her body here. The Sandy has been used with considerable success during the last decade, and the Sandy House is used as a classroom and teaching. It is done during the opening stages of initiation, the instructions being senior members of Lodge Dr. McGraga introducing courses in simply autonomy, psychology, mothercraft, nursing, sanitation, first aid, domestic science, and handcraft are also included. The Zoes, a large black wooden helmet type mask and a garment black fabric, which you see here. This black fabric mask. This is the Zoesi that they're talking about. One who is skilled in a lot of information. She is the elder one who is studying medicine when we talk about different herbs. And I talk about that a little bit when we deal with the circumcision thing before they start to learn anything else. But just they are master in different types of herbs, and they teach these young girls these types of things about nursing and taking care of the sick, and what different herb is for what different herbs, and and so forth. Occasionally considered to be embodiment by the Sandy Society. The identity of the masquerade is kept a close secret, and the devil deals that word again. But again, I understand why they use that terminology at that particular time. If you want to know particularly more about the Zowiskis and why they wear the mask, and even on the Poro side, why they wear the mask, and when these certain individuals are going to the excluded places that these people and they're passing through the community, why some of these people are scared and take off running, what I'm saying, when they see them dressed in these full regalias. I give all that information on that presentation. So, I mean, if you're interested, go check it out, and you'll understand what I'm talking about. Here is another a picture of some initiate girls here, and again they have all the white chalk on their face, and again the white chalk is called hojo. Hojo is this white clay that is smeared all over the Sandy and Bondo women that's going through initiation, and hojo on the face of the men's secret society, where you will see there may have it around their eyes, may have it on their mouth, may have some markings or something on their cheek. they have it fully on their entire body. But the first picture I showed you, you see where um she wanted some snacks too, right? Um she the first picture you seen them three sisters by the Zoe's uh shoe. The white chalk was all off their face. You know what I'm saying? Damn near off their arms and their neck. That's why I said them sisters had already been through some stuff. Had been through some stuff. Here's again, you see younger sisters here. They have Hojo all over their face. Again, Hojo is this white cloud. Again, objects and people who are marked with Hojo are under the Sandy's protection and control. They are subject to authority and the Sandy's law and punishment. Initiates are colored with this white clay to show that they are property of the Sandy, and they signify that they are under the protection of the Sandy and should not be fooled with. Zoe's the judge and the women wears the white to represent clear thinking and justice. So this is a reason why they wear this hojo on their face and body to distinguish them, to let people know that do not mess with them. They are under the Sandy and Bondo society, secret society. They are under their protection. So do not fool with them. It distinguish them too, let them know that they are up under, they're going through their initiation. So they're not actually Sandy and Bund. They are not a part of the society yet. They are still going through what they are going through. And Zoe's, they wear it, to the judge and women is to wear the white to represent clear thinking and justice. Here is what we would call, if he was a part of the sororities, the coming out parties where they go and step, they do this step, you go through whatever you go through the sororities or whatever the case may be, even through masonry, what we call feeding the goat. After we be initiated, after we go through the first initiation, the second initiation, and third initiation in order to be a mason, but you can go through multiple initiations. You can out in the United States become a 33rd, or you can become, or you can get I think maybe up to 360. But I had a chance, but you can go outside the states and get more degrees. And I got offered a few years ago to go all the way up to my 90th degree. I got to my 32nd degree, but you could have stopped at your third in order to be a Mason. But I went all the way up the ladder through a bunch of different initiations and do the same thing. You're exiled. You have certain types of information you have to learn. You have to meet suitable proficiencies. And then once you meet these suitable proficiencies, now you're a part of this type of organization. And then what we call feeding the gold, if you're a part of a certain type of fraternity, it's the same thing. And then you come out, your coming out party. Now you're coming back. People can recognize you as being a Q dog or these other different fraternities. I threw out Q Dog because I know when I was in college the first time, that was something I wanted to do, but my street activities at the time deterred me from actually becoming a part of the Q Dogs. So, but anyway, here is the coming out parties of the Bondo Sandy women, where now they've been acclimated back into or reintroduced back into society. So now they are dancing. So you can see the Zoesis and you can see the little young girl here. She getting down here. She is, what she doing? Look like one of them dancers my little stepdaughter be doing up, do it up in here. But she they're dancing, so the same thing like I said with the sororities. They come out, they dance into the rhythm of the beats with they stepping, and they in sync with the beat. The same thing that's going on here with the Sandy and the Bondo Secret Woman Society here. Here is a mask, the Mende helmet mask. You can see some of the Zoesis wear the mask. These masks are given to some of the initiates. Afterwards, I talk about this. Like I said, I go into how the eyes are slant, all these different things. There are different, different ones, but the facial features is mostly the same. But the hairstyles, this is a hairstyle, the different hairstyles. So I talk about all that in that presentation. Again, I'm not gonna talk about it in this presentation, but go back again to the Bondo Secret Woman Society presentation that I did on the Moxie Warrior Clan channel. And you know what I'm saying? You can get that info. Here is some people again. Here you can see some of the ones in the Secret Woman Society here. And they are throwing cowrie shells. They ain't throwing crystals and they ain't throwing stones now. They says throwing cowrie shells. You know, I always have to mess with people, but again, I don't have a problem with people that, you know, wear crystals or stones, you know what I'm saying? But again, just don't try to intermingle those with African culture. You know what I'm saying? You know, we wear coral shells and we wear beads. And you know, people are sleeping on the presentation that me and brother Sutek did. You know, brother Sutek did a presentation and he allowed me to come in behind him, you know what I'm saying, and present some more information on the cowrie shell. So you got two powerful presentations in one presentation on the cowrie. And I've been meaning to reshare the cowrie presentation as well as the bead presentations the bead presentation that I did on Kofi Piesie TV maybe a month ago or a month and a half ago. Those are two powerful presentations. You hear me and Sean talk about cowrie shells and talk about beads a lot. You know, and we always go, you know, well, I'm always joking, you know, joking about it. Sean, you know, Sean is serious. But, you know, we always talk about don't mix and match Hindu culture, Buddhist and Hindu culture with African culture. When we talk about stones and crystals and the chakras and the Kundalini power or whatever it is. So we did a presentation on cowrie shells, me and Sutek, and then I did a presentation on beads. So I'm gonna repost them two presentations tomorrow, which I wanted to do last week, both of them, so y'all can check out those two presentations. Those are two well put together presentations. A lot of good information in those presentations. But these sisters here are throwing the cowrie shells determine the name of the mask because they named the mask. You can see the mask is in the middle of the floor, and the sister is casting the cowrie shells to determine the name of what this mask is going to be called. And each initiate gets one of these masks, and I talk about that in the presentation. So again, go check out that presentation. All right, the Bandu / Sandy initiation, 3 parts. And again, when we mention Bando, we talking about the women in the north. And when we mention Sandy, we talking about the women in the south. They are the same secret woman society by the Mende society. But again, the Sandy, they're going to say Sandy in the south, and they're going to say Bando in the north. And again, with that, it has 3 parts with the initiation into theirs, just like the Poro, you have separation, which you are separated and you go into the bush or into the woods. So you are excluded from society until you go through these things, these things you have to learn, things that you have to overcome, and etc. And then transitioning, what I call, meeting suitable proficiencies, meaning that you are grasping and understanding certain things and why you are going through certain things, and learning certain things, you know what I'm saying? So you're meeting these suitable proficiencies, and then you're being incorporated back into society where you go to the step coming out parties, you know, most of the fraternities will call it, where you are being introduced back into the society and your society, and you are now a part of this organization. So now the whole community is celebrating with you, celebrating celebrating with you for the things that you have went through. So they are singing and they are dancing to the rhythm of the beats, and everybody's enjoying themselves, and everybody is getting full, and everybody is just having a good old time. So again, both parts with the Poro and the Sandy, it is a 3-part initiation, separation, transition, and incorporated. But this is not just with the secret societies in the Poro and the what's the name, it is in all of the rites of passages. And I even talk about this for people that want to go check out another secret society. You can go check out the Wulu Mongulu presentation that I did, a secret society in East Africa. It is on my Warrior Clan channel as well. All right, other many secret societies are the Humsi. Again, people, you know, they know about the Poro and the Sandy, but you rarely hear anybody talk about the Hunsi, which is regulated relationships between the sexes, the Iajo, the Male Healing Society, and the Wundu Society, found only by the Kamindi country and serving mainly as a dancing society with 4 grades corresponds to levels of advancement. So, and again, I told you that the Mindis was broken down into 3 different groups. You have the Kamindi, and it was 2 other groups that I can't remember this particular time. I may go back in a minute if people want to know the 3 names that they was broken down to. They was broken down into 3 different groups. The Kamindi was the first. Dang, I can't remember the other 2 groups, but I talked about them on the other 2. But the Wundudu, this healing, with the healing society and the dancing society, uh, you get with these different groups of Mendis. The vitality of the culture and the traditions of the Mende people is reflected in their dancing and music. The indigenous dancing, again, the vitality of the culture and tradition of the Mende people is reflected in their dancing and music. The indigenous dancing, singing, and drummings are the largest extents related to the Poro and Sandy society. The most common forms of singing is the solo with refrains carrying on by both men and women. The refrain may be on words repeating by one singer, or it may be quite elaborate in harmony and rhythm, and it may include 2 separate refrain songs by 2 sets of people. Melodies are also sung in 2 parts, harmonies and groups dancing. Peoples may sing a simple chorus, unisons, or in harmony without any leaders. The qualities of the singing vary from area to area, and some villages have acquired reputations throughout Mende land for their 5 vocalists. The singing being invited by neighboring chiefs to perform on special occasions. And again, I may do something later on in the future. I don't know when, but later on in the future, I may come back and do a presentation because some of the things that I was reading about um, the singing and the dancing and some of the songs and the meaning behind the songs and the dance and so forth, it's very interesting. So I may come back and do something on the singing and dancing of the Mende people and the instruments that they use. Also, here I threw a few. I threw out a bunch of presentations. The Amistad Revolt and the Fearless Sing Bay Pay presentation part 1. That's on Kofi Piesie TV. The Amistad Revolt and Fearless Sing Pay presentation part 2 is on Kofi Piesie TV. I'm throwing these up here because in the beginning of the presentation, I gave praises and honors to Singpei because he is a Mende as well. He was one of the head people to revolt and siege the La Amistad ship when they was kidnapped and was being carried across the ocean during the time when British outlawed slavery at this particular time. They fought and killed and they took over the ship and they ended up in North America. The ship was seized. They went to court. They had to have the Mende interpreter, which I showed Joseph Convey, whose name is Kawali, for pronouncing his name right, who was a slave, who was freed, who was educated by the Missionary Society schools, who went into joined the Navy, was over here in the United States. They sought out for someone to interpretate the Mende, interpretate Singpei and some of the Mende people who took over the siege of the ship. So they got an interpreter who was a West African, who was Mende. They didn't say he was from North America. They didn't go get somebody to interpret. I'm just throwing it out there because they say that the Mende people history is fake. Mendes are from North America. I guess they are aboriginals, these people are trying to say. But if there was the case, they wouldn't have to go find a West African who was Mende to interpret the language of the Mende people in the courtroom. They would just go get an Aboriginal to interpret the language. Somebody from North America, Asian and native from North America, and not someone native to Africa. But these are two presentations if you want to check out those presentations. Also, the Bundo/Sandy Secret Woman Society is on the Mossy Warrior Clan YouTube channel. This is a presentation also that I did about the Mende Secret Society. I may come back and do one on the Poro Men's Secret Society. I think I asked Ben that it was right for me to do it because he was supposed to do it a year ago or a year and a half ago. So, I think he did say, man, go ahead and do it. I think I hadn't got to it, but I'm going to check back with him because I don't want to do it if he's still, in the future going to do it. But we need that. And who is the Gala people and the Gullah people? I took some information from that presentation as well when we talk about when I talked about the linguistic guy Lawrence Turner. A guy who was studying another woman who was actually looking as well as him looking and studying the people on the Sea Islands of Georgia and South Carolina, and he started to see the similarities as these people had the same culture and some of the same dialect, pronounced the words the same and some of the words the same as those that was in West Africa. So he began to study them, and then he began to indulge into the language, and he traced the language back to West Africa and not North America. West Africa and not North America. And then a lot of these people 19, I can't remember, well, I don't know if it was in the 60s, the 70s, or the 80s, excuse me, but it's in that presentation. A lot of those people from the Sea Islands took a trip to West Africa. They took a trip to Sierra Leone. And again, those people was targeting Sierra Leone and Liberia because those people was master cultivators of rice. And at that particular time, when they began to go into West Africa and kidnap a lot of people from West Africa, it was to kidnap those who knew how to cultivate rice. So they took them to these Sea Islands in Georgia, Florida, and South Carolina. And again, that is in the Gullah people and Gullah. Who is the Gullah people and the Gula people? The Gullah people, and we can, and again, Angola, the brother said Angola is in Indiana. I showed that Angola is from it is a title from a king called Angola. I showed you what the word Angola means. I showed you who made this Portuguese individual who came back in to Central Africa. Him and one of the kings had an agreement, and he set up a province or a town in Luanda, which is in the Congo, and he called it Angola after the title of the king from Ndongo in the Congo. So there, and Angola is in Central Africa and not in Indiana. So, but anyway, you can go check out that presentation, and with the Gala, the Gula, the Gala became the Gula. And even when we talk about the Geechee people also come from Central Africa as well. The Geechee or the Geechee, which became the Kisi, to the Geechee people. So go check that presentation out, or you can check out all 5 of those presentations that I did. I don't know the name of all of them off the top of my head, but I know I did 5 parts to the Gala Geechee history from West Africa, them being kidnapped, taken to bonds, them brought them to the Sea Islands, why they had their culture and tradition intact, why they had their language intact, why the names was favoring the same names from West Africa. These people had West African names, West African dialects, West African traditions, the same type of diets. I showed you the foods that they was eating, you know what I'm saying? And you look at some of the Gullah same dishes over here, it is some of the same dishes and diets over there in West Africa and not North America, Law. This is crazy. Portuguese in the Congo presentation is another one. This is from the 5-part series of the Congo. I mean, the 4-part series from the Congo. People know that I like to do a lot of series, so I will do information on one thing, and I'll come back and do another part, and another part on a continuation of these presentations. So Portuguese in the Congo, I talk about this the Portuguese coming into Congo. I talk about the king converting to Christianity, then not converting, then his son converting, then converting everybody, and then how they was trading back and forth with the Portuguese, and then the Portuguese wanted bodies and not slaves. I mean, they wanted bodies and not the material from the Congo. They didn't want the material from the Congo. They wanted bodies. And then I show you how we talk about slaves in the thing, how we fought amongst each other. Again, we don't romanticize nothing over here in Kofi Piesie TV and Mossy Warrior Clan YouTube channel. We don't romanticize nothing. So I show you how the king was actually giving the people that they fought against, who were soldiers of war or prisoners of war. And I showed you the prisoners of war in the Congo, how they lived. They didn't live in the conditions that we call that our ancestors had taught, had been a part of with the Atlantic slave trade or the Barbary Coast or the Sahara Coast slave trade. These people actually worked, and once they was in the community for so long, they was able to stay and acclimate in the community, or they was able to leave. They was free to roam around at any time as they worked. They was able to become citizens. They was able to own land as a prisoner of war. They was able to marry women in the Congo or in Central Africa. They was able to do that. And then at a particular time, they was able to leave or they was able to stay. And so the king thought the same thing. He thought, okay, well, we'll give the prisoners of war. And he thought that they were going to be treated the same way that they were treated in the Congo. But no, it wasn't. And I showed you letters and primaries of how he started writing back to the Portuguese and explaining he didn't know all this was going on, and he wanted to change the agreement and etc. It's on it's on our end. Is I talk about it on the Warrior Queen Nzinga. The Warrior Queen Nzinga is kinsmen or cousins to the king who actually was trading with the Portuguese and then started giving bodies. The Queen Nzinga. So I talk about that in the Congo series as well. Queen Nzinga. I talk about all the kingdoms of the Congo, and there's a few other ones I mentioned in there that I can't remember off the top of my mind that we did. Go check out the Fulani presentation, because I talked about the Fulani and how they pushed some of the Mende people who became the Mende people into Sierra Leone. Some of the hunters went in there, and then some of the warrior class was the second wave that went into Sierra Leone. So we talk about the Fulana. So brother Inherit Sean did something on the Masi on the Fulana. So go check that out. It is a lot of presentations. We have been doing this for a long period of time. You know, now we didn't just start doing this. We were well studied in this. So we kind of know what we're talking about. You know what I'm saying? We have proven ourselves over and over. We know what we're talking about. And you know, I don't go back and forth with people. I just like to demonstrate certain things or clear up a few things. I'm not going to get in your inbox. I'm not finna in social. I'm not finna go on your platform. I'll just put out some information, or I'll write an article. That's what people do in the world. They don't go back and forth with each other like the conscious community / social media community. Go cuss you out, talk about eating your babies, talk about slapping your mama, calling the women the bees, you know what I'm saying, calling the men the bees, the whores, assassinating your characters, setting people. We don't do that over here on Kofi Piesie TV. We don't do that on the Master Warrior Clan channel. We're gonna keep it scholastically. I'm not a scholar. I'm far from a scholar, but I'm working my way, and one day I'll hope to be accepted and be called a scholar. Right now, I'm just passing information. My motto is, as I learn, we all learn. So when I learn, I'm going to share information with the family. That's what I do. I love to share information, and I'm not going to just go Google something, because I'm not a Google scholar. I'm gonna go study. I'm gonna go, you know what I'm saying, buy and purchase books. I'm gonna pull up PDFs. I'm gonna pull up some primaries. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna talk to some people if I need to talk to some people on the continent of Africa. I'm gonna talk to some people that's engulfed into some of the African cultures. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's what I'm doing. Here are some of my references here that I use for this presentation. At the end, I always want to give my references, and again, I don't have a problem with you scrutinizing my references. Go through my references. I give a disclaimer. This is the reason why I give a disclaimer at the beginning of my presentations. And I have no problem with going back and saying I was wrong. I have no problem with going back and altering my information at all. That is what you call having good character. Again, I look at things through an African perspective, and we talk about African culture and tradition. I live that, and it is about cultivating good character. So I try to exhibit at all times good character. And humility, being humble, is a part of good character. Saying if you want to know what is entailed with good character, go look at my Iwa Pele presentation on Kofi Piesie TV, and I give you what is Iwa Pele or what is Iwa Riri, and I go through and break it down thoroughly. I talk about Ori Tutu, bad head, because sometimes people will give you a bad head in this community where you want to snap and you want to go off, but but I breaks it down, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, here's my sources. Again, you can go to my sources, scrutinize them as my sources. If I made a mistake, if I made an error, again, I say this all the time, I have no problem with going back and fixing the information, long as you come to me in a correct way. You don't come to me arrogant. You don't come to me sideways. You come to me in the right way, and you show me. I don't have a problem saying, hey, brother, such and such, or such a sister sold me such and such. You know what I'm saying? I was wrong on this part. I was different, and he showed me. So, here is the right way. Here is the right information. This is why this is wasn't right, because of what I presented. This information might have been outdated, or it might have been a bias, you know what I'm saying, at a certain particular time, whatever the case may be. I don't have a problem with that. Hope everybody, that's the end of my presentation, y'all. I hope y'all, damn, I didn't want to keep it that long. It's been a long one, but it was a lot of stuff that was was told to me, and some stuff that I seen on on my big brother well, I didn't see it actually. Sean showed me some small little clippings of the little conversation when the Abos was on brother my big brother and Mossy Warrior Clan member Uncle Kid channel, the voices, no, who I'm finna say the voices but on his channel. So I mean, it was just a lot of rhetoric spew. So I just wanted to come back, and I know Sean talked about it last week, but I wanted to kind of give you some visuals. I kind of wanted to go a little bit further and show you about the linguistic part, about Lawrence Dow Turner, show you about John Convey, who the real name is Callaway, if I'm pronouncing his name right, who was an interpreter for Singbei Pei and the other minis who took over the Amistad ship. You know, how some of them ended up in Sierra Leone. You know, they the Mende come from the Mende. You know, they trace that through the language, through linguistics. Show you about Angola. Angola is a term from the Portuguese. Show you who gave the term, why he named it there, how he ended up in Central Africa in the first place, how he became the governor, and what Angola actually mean, a title and not a damn name. And it wasn't a country, it was called Ndongo, and what the area that he was called Luanda, the capital of the Congo that he took a part of, became governor, and then he named it Angola after a title of the king called Angola. And you know, and just dove into the culture of the Mende and the secret societies of the Mende on the women and mother side, show you their dietary, and show you the foods that they was eating, you know, show you that they was farmers, why they was taking and to Bones Island and then to these sea islands in South and America, and how Robert Doward actually studied and went through the linguistics and traced the language back to West Africa, and a lot of those people had the name. And even when you mention the Gullah people, you can't just mention the Gala or the Gula people. You have to mention the Mende people. You have to mention the Va people. You have to mention the Kono people. You have to mention the Kili people and these other people. Somebody else got their name open. I mean, the mic open. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you can grab that one slide real quick so they can get a visual, because I put them all in a written format. Well, not all of them, but I put the Mende, Gullah, and English translations all side by side so people can get a visual. I ain't want to cut your bill.
Oh no, no,
It's
no. You good. You
it's in your
Y'all,
inbox.
all right. Y'all see if I got let me, I'm still sharing. Yeah, I'm still sharing, ain't I?
Yeah, I kind of wanted to do it before everybody disappears and goes over to Unc's channel. But
Oh,
you know,
okay, you done started. Yeah.
people can always review it, and they'll have, you know, a visual so they can actually see the languages side by side.
All
And
right.
it correlates with that the song. Oh, I can't remember the name of the song right off back, but they did that documentary to show how they tied it together. That Language You Cry In documentary.
Okay, hold on. Let me share. Let me go to my Facebook. Y'all let me know what I'm sharing on. We finna end the show, so y'all can go over there to Unc show over there. I know y'all wanna go over there. Then my big brother Unc. So we gonna end this in just a second. I'm gonna pull this up so y'all can see this. Is it this in or is another Gullah connection ritual? Oh man, hold on.
No, that one right there is a group of people that you'll find in Mexico, but they share the language alters a little bit, but they share almost a mirrored burial practice, and only the women do it. And you have to be, it says somewhere on there, if you're not of African descent, you do not get this burial practice. It's so small on the screen, I can't see it to
Well,
recall
I'm
what it
pulling
was
up the other
actually
one.
called.
Hold on. Is this it right here? It's yeah, this it. You can talk it through, man. Let me see if I can make it a little bit bigger because it's kind of. Let me see.
Yeah, what this is the song. It's the song that they used to tie it in to West Africa. What you had was that's the sister down there on the bottom right corner.
Yeah.
Y'all have to forgive me. This was a year ago, and I can't
Yeah.
remember her
Hold
name.
on. I done went off of it, man. Let me go back on it. Dang. I done blew this thing up. Yeah, and I talk about this too in that presentation with the language I did. I can't even think of the name, but I wanted to put it up there too. Hold on, man. Let me get here. Pull it back.
And while we're here and you're doing that, great job. And it's official. You can no longer call me Baby Longwind if I can't call you Uncle Longwind. I don't even think you took a breath to breathe this whole slide presentation.
Man.
But great job.
Yeah.
Okay, if you want me to explain it, I will.
Yeah, go
What
ahead.
it is, and you'll have to forgive me, y'all, because I can't see her name. And I'm too nervous to try to open it up on my end and lose connection. You have a sister who her entire childhood, her grandmother would sing a song to her to where it became repetitive in her memory. And when Dr. Tate and others were doing their research on the Gullah people, they come across her, they record it, they take it to Africa and find the Mende singing it right there. They put two and two together and find out that it was a burial song or tradition. And I don't know if Kofi would be able to zoom in on it. And I'll
No,
pass that.
it
I'll
won't let
pass
me.
it
It won't
to
let me
anybody.
zoom in.
Yeah, to anybody that wants it, we'll send the connection around. But what I did was I broke it down in the Mende version, the Gullah version, and the English version, and put them side by side for the audience. and I give the sister's name. And for those who never seen that documentary, yeah, I even provided a free link so you can watch that documentary where it walks you through step by step how that process of connecting each hemisphere together took place.
Yeah.
Now, the next slide that was there, that goes into them finding a Gullah connection. Well, I'm trying to piece it together just by studying. You know how I am. I like playing connect the dots.
Mm-hmm.
You have a group of people in Mexico that have the exact same ritual. So the language is just a little bit different there. But I put that song and it almost mirrors, you know, some things are gonna get lost in translation, but it's almost an exact replica.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But man, I ain't gonna hold y'all, man. I appreciate y'all for tuning in to let me go back here real quick. Well,
And while we're here, I think, you know, important thing that we have to throw out that maybe, you know, might be something for us to, you know, really, really pay attention to. Us finding that connection with this language is a beautiful thing, because if you study the history of what happened in South America, especially in the inception of transporting Africans over here, you have to remember that they converted them into a word that you would call Ladinos. And what that means is it made them, in lack of any better words, it made them Spanish. You know, they had to learn the Spanish language. They had to convert over to Christianity. So it's going to be hard to find those language connections. But when I do this similar stuff, I got some little jewels I'm gonna give everybody.
Yes, indeed, you do. Yeah, but any one of y'all Sutex tipping around, man, before I end, man, I don't want, you know, if y'all had something to say, man, I ain't want to end it without y'all saying anything.
Nah, man, I'm good. Great show. Great show. I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch this, but yeah, this information needed to be put out and build it upon, so we can start eliminating some of these ridiculous claims. But yeah, great, powerful show, man. That's all I got to say. Peace. Thanks for everybody tuning in. Share the show on your Facebook page. Let everybody see this. Anybody that's interested, we this brother put in some work, man. It deserves to be noticed.
I think Sean left to go over to Unc's channel. Satep, you still there?
Yeah, it was a good show, man. I like it. It was good, Kofi. You always come with the heat, so I definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate it. Well, shoot, y'all. Oh, go ahead.
I got a question for Sister Kaba while she's in the chat. Before the presentation started, and I didn't want to interrupt Kofi while he was building, I asked him how he felt about doing a presentation or a small build on the difference in between having a cultural lens on reality versus a societal lens on reality. If we put something together, Sister Kaba, since I always hear him saying, I wish I could get Sister Kaba on the panel, I wish I could get Sister Kaba, is that something that you may be interested in so we can see you two up on the panel side by side?
Yeah, I can get her now. She done came on. She ain't gonna come on for everybody. Now, she came on one time, a video that I did, you know what I'm saying? She didn't want to come on, but she came on the strength of me. A video I did on here a while back here. I'm not gonna mention the name of it. It's off of here because it was all in trying to get everybody together, but it turned into something else, like I was attacking everybody or whatever. Some people kind of, I took the whole thing down when my heart was trying to pull everybody together. But it won't be no problem. I tell her, Sister Kaba, you know, she'll, you know what I'm saying, she ready.
Yeah, I'm secretly trying to be that bridge in between MBK and Kofi Piesie TV. I got some secret stuff. I'm coming for Danny and all them to try to get them over here. I'm just telling y'all know how I am.
Yeah, man, they'll come. Man, yeah. That's my family over there, man. I mean, I don't, me and Sister Copper, that's my sister. I mean, people know that even if you go back to my more presentation, you know what I'm saying? That presentation was appreciating the people that that I met along the way, along the way through my studies and bumping into people on social media, via Facebook or via YouTube. Um, that's my subject, man. And we just got through talking for about, and we talk for hours. So just got through talking to her last night for probably about an hour and a half, 2 hours, last night. So that ain't, that's my family's, Jehuda, my family. He's part of the Seshu. I'm a part of the Seshu group. So that's no problem for him to come over. He done been on here a few times. Shoot, Danny, you know what I'm saying, a true historian, shoot, shoot, me and Danny cool. All I gotta get him, Saneb, you know what I'm saying? Zaneb, me and Zaneb, cool. We family, we done chopped it up a lot. I got his number. We were supposed to be getting together and doing something. I'm gonna have to reach back out to him because I kind of stopped, presenting at that time when I had told him I wanted us to get together. So they cool with working with us, man. So they
Yeah,
ain't got no
yeah.
problem.
Oh, I know it. I see it. I know it. I know it's a family. I'm just ready to beat up all these other channels and platforms that don't deserve light anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's time to just, put the big feet down and smash them all at once.
Yeah, yeah. We gonna get them all over here with us, man. We gonna have to do a mash up collabo. You know what I'm
Plus,
saying?
plus, I told you, I'm not gonna stop until Kofi gets his 1,000 mark like he deserves. He deserves it.
I ain't even studying it no more, man. I'm not even worried about it. I'm just gonna do what I'm supposed to do, man, and that's just it, man. And if I just ain't gonna worry about it, man. But shoot, man, I'm gonna have to jump on up out here, man. But I want to say Black African Power. You know what I'm saying? Again, appreciate y'all for tuning in to Kofi Piesie TV channel. We'll be back next week for another show on Kofi Piesie channel. Vasa be coming up next. If you missed the show that Sutek did, I think that was last week. Go check out that presentation Brother Sutek did in the archives. Go check out that presentation that Sean did, the improv show that Sean did last week on Kofi Piesie TV. And I think I did something before that. Then I got another good one coming up soon. Probably follow after Vasa. I actually was gonna do it today, but I'm gonna wait to do it. I know y'all gonna love that presentation. It's a good presentation. It's already in the hole. And then be on the lookout next week. I'll be back on Masi Warrior Clan YouTube channel at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time for my Bumutu video. And it's actually talking about what is the we're looking through the lens or through the eyes of different African ethnic groups and seeing what is a human and what is a person. And the I mean, I ain't gonna even talk about it. Just we'll y'all see it, and I think y'all gonna love that presentation next week too. Those two presentations are done, and we'll go in next week, man. But again, Black African Power. We'll see y'all next time. Peace, 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 peace.